Hello, friends. Welcome back to the channel. This is GM Philosophy. I'm the GM Philosopher, and today we're doing something a little different. This is a live stream. We are talking about my favorite Magic the Gathering deck build, my favorite Commander deck build. I know that this isn't quite D&D related, but friends, we're also going to talk about D&D. We're going to hang out. I'm going to respond to the chat. We're going to see what comes up, guys, and I'm going to show you my favorite deck. I have built this deck. I've been running it and tweaking it and modifying it for a long time. It is my favorite deck. I think it represents me and the way I play Magic and the way I conceptualize Magic. And so I'm very pumped to show it to you. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm very pumped about this. I'm going to give it just a minute before we launch into it here because I am starting a tiny bit early, but I want to make sure that we can see cards. I want to make sure we're looking okay. Yeah, there we go. It's going to look great. It's going to look great, guys. You already know I'm playing blue. That's just how we roll, guys. Hopefully, I can make the cards, show up in the camera without too much blurriness and fuzziness and whatnot. So yeah, just smash that thumbs up button, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Help me grow the channel. The goal of this channel is to empower game masters to run better games. And drop me a comment. Let me know what you're doing in your D&D life. Let me know what you're doing in your Magic the Gathering life, guys. I may talk more about Magic the Gathering. I don't know. I don't know if anyone is going to like this topic or not, but it's going to be a fun time no matter what happens. And also, I run games on Start Playing. If you want to play D&D with me, check out my links in the comment or in the description. Find out what games I have on the board. Join one. Be cool like the cool kids. Play awesome D&D with me, the GM Philosopher. All right, so it is Friday night. I hope everyone's having a great Friday night. I'm going to give it one more minute before we begin the deck reveal. But before we actually begin the deck reveal, I think we should go over the commander. Okay, so it's a red-blue, and I'm running the alternate art, the Locust God, okay? So I'm running the Locust God as a commander, and I got to read this to you. We have, whenever you draw so he's a 4/4 legendary creature, okay? And then it has flying, all right? Whenever you draw a card, create a 1/1 blue and red insect creature token with flying and haste. You can see my token right there. Got the insects rolling out. And then it has pay 2 a blue and a red, draw a card, then discard a card. When the Locust God dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So there we go. Garrick says here briefly, Magic the Gathering, just not my thing. Hey, understand totally, Garrick. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming to the live stream party, live stream squad showing out. Really appreciate it. But yeah, so we got the Locust God. Also, Garrick, if you want to talk about anything D&D related, totally down for that. Just using the opportunity to share my favorite Magic deck, bringing a little bit of variety to the channel here. Now let's go through. We've got some lands. I'm not going to make too big a show of this, but I'm going to show you my pretty full art lands here. Got some islands rolling out, fancy islands. I personally have always loved playing blue. I also love white. Honestly, one of my favorite decks of all time is a 5-color. Joda, running Joda, 5-color, scary monsters and creatures. But honestly, if I'm wanting to actually do well at a game of Magic the Gathering, if I actually want to compete with the big dogs, this is the deck I pull out. This is by far probably my highest power level deck. It is by no means a pro deck. It is just what it is, and you're going to see a couple proxies in here too, though I will let you know ahead of time, all the cards that I proxy, I actually own. So there are no proxies in this deck of cards that I do not own. A lot of my proxies either look exactly like the original card or they are a very slight differentiation. But the thing is that I do own them all. So here's one example. Here's the first card I'm going to show you from the deck that's not a land. We've got Reigns of Power. This is actually a proxy. It's a paper proxy, but I do own the card. I personally think that if you're going to run proxies, you should own the cards. I know that not everyone thinks that way, but since it is a collector, so it's like a collector card thing, right? You collect cards. So I think that collecting is fun and important, and I feel weird. I would feel weird about running cards in my decks that I haven't collected. But I do believe that it makes sense to proxy across decks. Like I have like 7 decks and I may only have 1 copy of a card, may want to run it in like all 7 decks, right? So that then I don't have to buy multiple copies of cards that might be $40, $50. All right, here we go. Coming in with the first Jace Planeswalker, Jace Wielder of Mysteries, right? We got classic Jace card draw here. This is actually a big piece in this deck. It may come as no surprise to you that I run a lot of Jace cards in this deck. By the way, for those of you who are just joining, welcome. Feel free to drop a comment. We're here to talk about Magic. I'm showing you my favorite Magic deck, but I'm also here to talk about D&D or anything else that comes up in the chat. Honestly, the Magic deck is maybe more of a placeholder for, just something to do while we have conversation. Running and negate, obviously, because you got to have some counter spells up your sleeve if you're going to be crafty. Got another land here. All right, now here we go. Here's the first big piece of heavy firepower that I love in this deck. This is one of my favorite cards of all time. Forced Fruition. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, that player draws 7 cards. Nasty, nasty spell. Love this. If I get this out on the table, my main goal becomes to protect it at all costs and let it pop. So Forced Fruition. We obviously run in the Library of Leng, because why wouldn't you run the Library of Leng? It's effing awesome. Skip your discard phase. Also, if you'd be forced to discard, you may look at the card before choosing where to discard it. You can put it to the top of your library instead. Got a Howling Mine. Got to run a Howling Mine in a card draw deck. Keep in mind we're running the Locust God, so I want to draw cards and make insects. But also this is a hug deck, so I'm trying to draw everyone else as many cards as possible also. This is one of my favorite cards of all time. This is a proxy, but I do own the card. Vidalcan Orrery. You may cast non-land cards as though they had flash. You can see the slight strange coloring of the card. That's because I had slightly discolored being a proxy. And here we go. Now we're getting into the fun stuff. Red spells. We've got Fling. Obviously, you've got to run Fling. And I'm going to show you why here in just a little bit, why we're running spells like Fling. Love that spell. Here's one of the reasons. Because we're running Chasm Skulker. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Chasm Skulker. When it dies, create X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on Chasm Skulker. So you fling them, and then you make a bunch of squids. That's the way we roll. Thank you everyone for coming to the live stream. Welcome in. You have arrived at the place to talk about D&D. Empowering game masters to run better games is the goal here. And we just happen to be talking about Magic the Gathering tonight because I felt like it. And I'm doing a new thing in 2026 where I'm listening to my instincts. My instincts said, let's talk about Magic the Gathering tonight. So that's what we're doing, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Stick around. Here's one of the power pieces of this deck, Fateful Showdown. I have a lot of these types of cards in this deck. Keep in mind, I'm running the Locust God. I'm trying to draw everyone cards, including myself, as many cards as possible. Fateful Showdown deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of cards in your hand. Discard all the cards in your hand, then draw that many cards. So imagine if I have like 10 cards in hand, burn someone for 10, draw 10. Now I've created 10 locusts because the Locust God is on the field. So that's how that works. We got us a Fireball, but better. Volcanic Geyser. Volcanic Geyser deals X damage to target creature or player. I prefer Volcanic Geyser because it is instant speed. Do it at the end of my opponent's turn before I take my turn. We've got a Dual Caster Mage, obviously. Flash, when Dual Caster Mage enters the battlefield, copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Going to cast me a couple copies of Fateful Showdown, obviously. So how we go. Okay, so now we're getting into the stuff that makes people angry. Flusterstorm. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless this controller pays 1 with a storm, right? So if I've already cast 5 spells this turn, you know, that matters. I get to cast 5 copies of this. Instead, you storm it, right? Really awesome spell, situationally useful. Drop me a thumbs up, guys. We've got some people in the chat. Hit that thumbs up. Show some love to the channel. Help me grow this channel. We're making big moves in 2026, guys. We're here to grow the channel. We're here to become awesome, empower game masters, run better games, and talk about maybe some other cool, nerdy stuff. That's awesome. We've got the Otherworld Atlas rolling out. Put a charge counter on Otherworld Atlas, or you can tap it. Each player draws a card for each charge counter on Otherworld Atlas. A little card draw there. Now here we go. Here's some more firepower for this deck. Sudden Impact. Instant speed. When sudden impact deals damage equal to the number of cards in target player's hand to that player. So this is where it starts to get mean. I draw people a bunch of cards, like with Forced Fruition. They're drawing 7 cards every time they cast a spell. And then when they have about 49 cards in hand, I hit them with the sudden impact. And then I copy it and hit everyone else with 1, 2. That's kind of a game-ending spell for this deck. We got the Brainstorm coming in here. Blue spell, draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand atop of the library in any order. Drop me some comments, guys. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what kind of things you're running in your decks. We got a Preordain, obviously. A little tech to help get us rolling. Scry 2, then draw a card. It's sorcery speed. We got the Exotic Orchard, right? Add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. A little mana fixer. We've got an island. We got a Mystic Sanctuary. This is kind of a weird one. It's not so great, but it's okay. Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other islands. When Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. It's just a little spell recursion shaped like an island, basically. We got a Guardian Idol because I love tapping for a mana on a rock that costs 2. But also we can turn it into a creature. So it does enter tapped, so it's a little slow, but still cool. I'm not by nature a fast Magic player, if that makes sense. We got the Talisman of Creativity out here. Boop, boop, making mana. Taking a little damage, we don't care. Soul Ring, obviously. Essential Commander tech. Got to be fancy, run the Soul Ring. We got some mountains. Nothing super fancy here, just stock mountains, man, from M21. And then we have, okay, here we go. Now we're getting into some of the cards I really like. Body of Knowledge. Body of Knowledge's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. So imagine we're drawing a bunch of cards. This thing's getting bigger and bigger, and we can fling it, right? But you have no maximum hand size. Very important. There's like 4 or 5 ways for me to do that in this deck. We already have the Library of Lang out there. Whenever Body of Knowledge is dealt damage, draw that many cards. Awesome. So I block, draw a bunch of cards, make a bunch of locusts since I have the locust god out. We've got the Temple of the False God. People talk about whether or not that's a good card. It's good for me because I'm no pro. Spiraling Embers deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of cards in your hand. So here we go again. I'm going to hit them with the spell, with the number of cards I have in hand. These are for later game. In the beginning of the game, I'm drawing everybody cards, being kind, hugging everybody. And then toward late game, I'm getting nasty, casting spells, dealing damage to everyone. We have another Jace Planeswalker. We got Jace Beleren. Each player draws a card, target player draws a card, or target player puts the top 20 cards of their library into their graveyard. Whenever I play this Jace, people think I'm going to mill. I'm not here to mill you. I'm here to draw you as many cards as I possibly can. So I'm leveling that up to +2. And the only reason I would mill is if like I'm kind of like hurting and I need to hurt somebody bad. Maybe if milling would like draw them out, I'll do it. We've got Learn from the Past. Target player shuffles his or her graveyard into his or her library, then draw a card. I like this card because I can get my library back, but also I could stop someone from using recursion in a pinch if I need to. We've got Teferi, Master of Time. This one gets nasty. This is actually an important piece in this deck that it's in everyone's best interest to stop me if this happens. You may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi, Master of Time on any player's turn. Anytime you could cast an instant. draw a card, then discard a card. Target creature you don't control phases out, or take 2 extra turns after this one. Taking extra turns in Magic is crazy broken, and it makes the game no fun, which is why usually the people I usually play with know that when Teferi comes out, they get rid of him as fast as possible. So I usually don't ever get him to pop off, but he does buy me a few turns, and I protect him with some locusts. Sky Scribing. Each player draws X cards, and you can forecast it. This is awesome. I try to pump this bad boy up. I'm running things like Mana Flare in here, so I try to pump this up big. I've drawn 20, 25 cards at a time with this. Really cool. Love that spell. We've got a red Elemental Blast because we got to keep the blue players in check. Counters a blue spell being cast or destroys a blue card in play. They try to counter my spells. I have at least one counter. Running the Ley Line of Anticipation, obviously. If it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. You may cast non-land cards as though they have flash. I love casting things at flash speed, so pretty much anything I can do. Of course, we had the Vidalcan Orrery in there earlier. Trying to cast as much as I can at flash speed. All right, Dakra Mystic is a 1-cost Merfolk Wizard. Pay 1 tap. Each player reveals the top card of his or her library. You may put the revealed cards into their owner's hands. Or no, I'm sorry. The reveal cards into their owner's graveyards. If you don't, each player draws a card. I always have them draw because that's the point of this deck. Have them draw as many cards as possible. Plus, you get Dakra Mystic out there, and for basically 1 mana, everyone draws a card. So it's pretty good, especially early game. All right. We have got Wild Ricochet because we got copy spells, obviously. You may choose new targets for target instant or sorcery spell. Then copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So I'm casting stuff like, Sky Scribing, drawing everyone 20 cards, and then we're going to Wild Ricochet it. Do it again for 4 mana, draw another 20 cards, right? That's just the stuff that this deck does. I love doing that kind of stuff. We're running Tidal Barracuda. Any player may cast spells as though they had flash. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. I love giving my opponents awesome things because this is a hug deck. I'm hugging them up until the very end. So it's like, you want flash? Here's flash, guys. Cast all your stuff at flash. Okay, here's an example of a mana rock that I like that is not actually very good, but I like this kind of thing. Empowered Auto Generator. It enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap it to put a charge counter on it, then add X mana of any one color where X is the number of charge counters on it. So it lands, it's slow, but it gets bigger every turn until people blow it up, which happens when it gets to have like 10 or 11 mana on it. Okay, here we go. Folio of Fancies. Players have no max hand size. I'm giving myself the max hand size. Got to give it to all my friends as well because this is a hug deck. Each player draws X cards or 2 in a blue. Each opponent puts a number of cards equal to the number of cards in their hand from the top of the library into their graveyard. So you can mill people nasty with Folio of Fancies. This is not a mill deck. I don't usually like to mill people. I try to use this only to give them the max hand size so that their hands get full of cards so I can burn them for how many cards are in their hand in the end of the game. Especially when I've got stuff like those of you who weren't in here earlier. I mean, when we're running stuff like, here, just a minute, I gotta grab it. When we're running stuff like Forced Fruition, every time a player casts a spell, they draw 7 cards. Stuff like Folio of Fancies gets awesome because then they have all those cards in their hand. They don't have to discard them. Firemind Vessel, little mana rock. Not good, but I like it. Enters battlefield tapped, add 2 mana of different colors. We've got Kami of the Crescent Moon. I love this card. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws a card. Heck yeah. I'm going to take a quick little break here just to say hi to those of you who maybe weren't here at the beginning of the stream. Welcome. I'm trying to live stream here in 2026 every day. Don't always make it, but we try to do it, talking about mostly D&D and empowering game masters to run better games, but also occasionally going to be talking about other stuff, guys. I've been getting a little bit into comic books. I just bought a comic book. I bought Conan, Scourge of the Serpent. Is anyone familiar with Conan? I have been more and more interested in telling stories in comic book form, guys. High key, I'm experimenting with making my own comic book, but I've been reading this. Pretty cool, actually. Drop a comment. Let me know if you're into it. And if you are into comics at all, what are you into? I know almost nothing about comic books. I've been into them literally almost zero. So I don't know nothing about nothing, but I am interested in learning about it. So anyway, all right, let's continue. We're talking about my red blue card draw hug. The Locust God is my commander. All right, Temporal Cascade. All right. This is an awesome spell. Choose one. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, or each player draws 7 cards. It's a 7 cost. Not the most efficient, but I always feel great when this card comes up. I'm like, heck yeah, I want to draw that card. We got Gilded Lotus out here, being awesome and fancy, making mana. We've got the Redirect, because sometimes countering spells isn't the right choice. Sometimes you want those spells to just hit other targets. So Redirect is what we're coming out with. We got Vision Skines, super underrated card draw card, and I want to draw other people cards in this deck. So drawing everyone 2 cards for 2 mana, absolutely. We've got the Spectral Searchlight, because when you're hugging people and you're going to give them cards, giving them mana is also a good idea. 3 mana, choose a player. That player adds 1 mana of any color they choose. So I like that. We've got the Cosmos Elixir. So here we're getting a little eclectic, right? At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting life total. Otherwise, you gain 2 life. Not super great, but I like it, and I run it. And for 4 mana, I have it sitting there. Nobody cares about it, and it just gains me a little life or draws me a card. Then we've got Reality Chip. Okay. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. As long as the Reality Chip is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. And then you can reconfigure. Pay 3 to attach to target creature you control, or unattach from a creature. Reconfigure only as a sorcery. While attached, this isn't a creature. So it basically, the good thing about this card is that it lets me look at the top card of my library anytime, which is actually kind of useful. And then as long as Reality Chip is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library, which is actually very powerful. It's like expanding your, hand by another card, essentially. And then if you cast the top card of that, you get another one. So it's really good. We got Fascination. X spell. Choose one. Each player draws X cards, or each player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. We're not milling with this deck. I don't want to mill anybody. Milling is mean. I want to draw them most of their deck, and then I want to hit them with stuff like sudden impact. that's the goal of this deck, right? We're not trying to mill anyone out. What I'm trying to do is draw them a ton of cards and then hit them with stuff like this. Sudden impact deals damage equal to the number of cards in target player's hand to that player. That's why I'm also trying to give all the players no max hand size all the time. And in the beginning, it is huggy, but then when we get down to like just 2 or 3 of us left, it turns into every man for himself, guys. All right, we've got, speaking of D&D fans are going to like this one, Mordenkainen himself, legendary planeswalker. This is literally from the D&D Magic the Gathering set. Draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. Or you can create a blue dog illusion creature token with this creature's power and toughness are equal to twice the number of cards in your hand, guys. Here's my dog illusion token. Imagine what happens when I fling that bad boy. Imagine what happens when I've got 50 cards in my hand, which is not uncommon when I run this deck. And then I fling my 100/100 blue dog at you. And then Mordenkainen also has an ult. Exchange your hand and library, then shuffle. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size, which is awesome because why wouldn't you want no max hand size all the time? As far as I'm concerned, I always want it. We got the rewind in here because not great, but great for me. Whip that out. And if you've got Mana Flare up, you basically buy yourself mana with that, which is awesome. We got the Reliquary Tower, of course. You get no max hand size. We got a mountain. We've got Silent Arbiter, which I oscillate back and forth even running this card, but right now it happens to be in the deck. No more than 1 creature can attack each combat. No more than 1 creature can block each combat. I don't know. I don't always like this card, but sometimes it buys me a couple turns if people are starting to swarm. Like if there's goblins and they're starting to swarm, it can buy me some time. We have got Words of Wisdom. You draw 2 cards, then each other player draws a card. Just a card draw hug. We got an island. We've got a Teleria Coast or a Teleria West. Teleria West enters the battlefield tapped. Add 1 blue to your mana pool, and you can transmute it. You can discard this card, search your library for a card with converted mana cost 0. What I do with Teleria West is if I do use the transmute, I go look for my Reliquary Tower. That's what I do because I want to get no max hand size as fast as possible. We've got the Gear Reach Sanitarium. Add 1 to your mana pool, or 2, tap, each player draws a card, then discards a card. Obviously, any chance we can get to draw everyone cards is what we want to do. And now here we go. The card that has cost me more friendships than any other card in Magic the Gathering. Yes, I run Psych Rift. I am that kind of player. And I always overload it. Because why not? Because when I'm backed into the corner and I'm trying to get my card draws, and I'm trying to get my burn spells, and everyone's got a handful of cards, the best thing we can do is when they swing all out at me with goblins is to quickly Psych Rift so that I buy myself a turn or 2 of life while I try to find an answer. Prosperity. Expel. Each player draws X cards. Super awesome. We've got the Temple Bell. This is the different language version. I think it's a Chinese version, but basically you tap Temple Bell. Everyone draws a card. Super simple. Works perfect for this deck. We have Reverberate. Copy target instant sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I run like 4 different copy instant sorcery spells in this deck for the simple fact that I want to copy my burn spells and I want to burn as many people as possible for the amount of cards they have in their hand while I'm drawing them as many cards as I can and giving them all the max hand size. In the beginning, this starts out as a hug, but then we turned it into fiery death later on. And of course, we got the Mana Flare. Everyone loves Mana Flare. You're everyone's best friend while you have this on the battlefield until you obviously become too dangerous to be left alive, and then they try to take you out. But whenever a player taps land for mana, it produces 1 additional mana of that type. We got Mikokoro, Center of the Sea. Add a colorless to your mana pool. 2, tap, each player draws a card. Super great for this deck. Got an island. We've got Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. Add 1 to your mana pool, or add 2 to your mana pool. Spend the mana only to cast colorless spells. Activate this ability only if you control 7 or more lands. It basically gives you a little bit of extra to cast artifacts. That's what it does for this deck. We got the Mountain. We've got the Jace Arcane Strategist. Or no, I'm sorry, Arcane Strategist. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and then you can tap, or you can use your level up to draw a card, or alt, creatures you control can't be blocked this turn. Honestly, this always comes out to help me draw cards, and then people take it out. People usually take out my planeswalkers as quick as they can, even the not so good ones. Got an island or a mountain. We got the Pristine Talisman out here. Janky mana ramp. Add 1 mana to your mana pool, and you gain 1 life. Not great. Okay, here we go. Expansion and Explosion. So I mostly run this for expansion. Copy target instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. You may choose new targets for the copy. So I'm using this to copy things like Sudden Impact. Explosion is also good, but I almost never use it, but it does still fit the deck. Explosion deals X damage to any target. Target player draws X cards. It's kind of expensive because it's an X but tap for 4. So I don't usually use that. In a pinch, I have used it. I've used it to like end the game when I was just trying to draw something to deal like 10 more damage to someone. We got Midnight Clock up in here. Add 1 mana or pay 3, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. At the beginning of each upkeep, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. When the 12th hour counter is put on Midnight Clock, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library, then draw 7 cards and exile Midnight Clock. It's a mana fixer. It's not super awesome. In fact, it can be a little bit annoying. Sometimes I try to bounce it back to my hand or something so that I don't have to reshuffle, because sometimes the shuffling gets annoying, but it is what it is. And it's kind of cool early game to give you extra mana. We got an island, which is good island. We got a counterspell, classic counterspell. Literally bought this counterspell from a 10-cent box, like way back when I was first started playing Magic. Found out it was probably worth a lot more than that. I don't know what counterspell is worth now. This is an early, probably non-valuable printing, but hey, it's counterspell, man. Command Tower, obviously. Got to run a Command Tower. Got the magic mirror rolling out. Legendary artifact. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each instant or sorcery card in your graveyard. You have no max hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a knowledge counter on the magic mirror, then draw a card for each knowledge counter on the magic mirror. So lots of card draw. Very expensive, though. It's better later game when you can reduce the cost. But anyway, with that being said, going to take a quick little break here. Welcome, everyone, to the chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm the GM Philosopher. This is GM Philosophy. Do me a favor. Smash that thumbs up button if you like D&D, or if you like Magic the Gathering, or if you like talking about other cool nerd stuff, which, like, guys, I'm going to start talking about comic books on this channel because I'm getting into comic books. Tell me if you think that this is a good one. I have only read the first 4 pages, but I think it's really cool so far. It was recommended to me by guys at my local comic book shop. I don't know, guys. I think comic books are pretty awesome. I was never into them really as a kid, not because I didn't like them, but because I just never bought them or read them. But I think they're kind of awesome. Anyway, yeah, so the purpose of this channel, empowering game masters to run better games. If you want to talk about something, drop a comment. Let's talk about it. I'm here hanging out. I'm showing you my favorite Magic the Gathering deck, but that doesn't have to be the only thing we discuss. I'm here on the live stream hanging out, having fun, guys. All right. Steam Augury is my next spell. This is okay. It's not great. 4 cost. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. It's okay. Early game, it can help you get some cards in your hand if you're struggling for lands or something like that. We got a Misdirection. I love this spell. You may exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay Misdirection as mana cost. So you can cost it for 0, basically. Change the target of target spell with a single target. It's basically, you can change the target, but you can do it even if you don't have any mana. So you have no mana untapped. You exile a counter spell from your hand. Boom, redirect it. It's awesome. Okay, this spell is very powerful, actually. I have used this spell to such a devastating effect so many times. Inner Fire. Add 1 red to your mana pool for each card in your hand. This works really well when you have 65 cards in your hand, which when I'm running this deck is not out of the realm of possibility ever. We got a mountain. We have an emergence zone. Sacrifice emergence zone. You may cast spells this turn as though they had flash, because you never know when you may need flash speed, guys. It's very important. I love playing cards at flash speed. Why would you play at normal speed when you can play at flash speed? We've got Narset's Reversal. This card has come very close to ending friendships. Copy target instant or sorcery spell, then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy. I literally have used this to cast my important burn spells and then bounce them back to my hand and copy them with this and then recast them again. So I can basically reuse the spell. Very, very awesome. Hey, William, how's it going? Good to see you. We're just going through my favorite Magic the Gathering deck here. The Locust God. Red-blue card draw hug, and then later on burn with crazy amounts of damage for the number of cards in people's hands, giving them no max hand size, drawing them as many cards as possible, hugging them out until the very end. Anyway, that's what we're talking about. All right, we're almost down to the bottom, though. We're running the Dictate of Krufix. Flash. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Super awesome for this deck. Very on theme. Everyone loves to see it. We've got Minds Aglow. One of the, I think, the most interesting and fun cards here. We've got Join Forces. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player draws X cards, where X is the total amount of mana paid this way. So if you can get your whole table to tap out early game for this, you're all drawing 11 cards, and it's awesome. Okay, so you used to play Magic back in the day. You used to go to tournaments with your Shadow deck. Oh, nice. Shadows are probably mono black, I'm assuming. That sounds like it. I'm not so familiar with Shadows. I'm actually not much of a black mana. I have run Skithiryx. I used to have a poison deck, Skithiryx, and then I would run a bunch of other infectors. That's what it was. White, black. Okay, gotcha. Nice. That's awesome. Now white, I've run a lot of white, but not so much black. I don't have a whole lot of black tech. I do have zombies stuff. Desolate Lighthouse. You can pay 3, draw a card, then discard a card. Any chance to draw a card, right? We got a mountain up in here. We got a Well of Ideas. This is actually a very powerful card. When Well of Ideas enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. At the beginning of each other player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. So that's very on theme. And then at the beginning of your draw step, you draw 2 additional cards. So it's like helping you twice as much, but it's hugging everybody. You say think you got out of it around 2007 or so. 2007 was the year I graduated in 2006. So just for reference, I didn't even know Magic the Gathering was a thing in 2007. You had all your cards stolen. Oh no, that sucks. That sucks, man. I've heard of that happening. That happened at a card shop I was hanging out in one time. Somebody like came in and was like asking around, and I guess it turned out that they had left their case of cards there by accident, and someone had walked out with it. That's crazy, dude. That with the amount of money that people spend on Magic cards. Path of Ancestry. Path of Ancestry enters the battlefield tapped. You can add 1 mana of any color to your commander in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. This doesn't do me a whole lot of good in this deck. It just lets me mana fix if I run into it. We have Alhemerit's Archive. So this is actually very niche, very useful to a certain point. If you would gain life, you gain twice so much life instead. And here's the important part for this deck. If you would draw a card, except the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. Super crazy powerful in late game, because usually it's like later game by the time I get that out. Once I get that out, man, I'm drawing so many cards. And then we have probably one of my just thematically favorite cards of all time. This is the final card of the deck. Anvil of Bogarden. 2-drop. Each player skips his or her discard phase. During each player's draw phase, that player draws an additional card and then chooses and discards a card. Anvil of Bogarden is like an older card. There was a time when this card was very high in value. Now I think it's gone back down. Last time I looked, I think it was like a $6 or $7 card. There was a time when this card went up to like $60, $70 in value. My friends bought me this card for my birthday one year because they knew I wanted it. But I was like, I'm a cheap Magic player. I don't usually buy expensive cards. Most of the expensive cards you see in my decks, I literally drew them, or I drafted them going to a draft, or they're actually bought for me as gifts by friends or people who knew I play Magic. So I very rarely spent a great deal of money on singles, or a lot of the singles that you see that I bought that are worth anything. I bought them back in the day when they were cheap, and now they're expensive, like Vidalcan Orrery. I don't know what the Vidalcan Orrery is right now, but when I bought it, it was literally like, it was like a $7 card, and then it surged up to, I've seen it be as high as like, I think $65, $70, just because just the value of it went up. So like a lot of cards I have that are worth anything, either they were gifts or I bought them way back when they weren't worth anything, and then they became worth something. Anyway, there you go, guys. That is my favorite Magic the Gathering deck. I think it represents me and how I conceptualize the world. I want to be kind, hug everyone, but I want to win. I want to win too. But usually I don't burn people at the end. Like usually it's more like I want to help everyone, and then I want to win without burning everything down. But when you're playing Magic, there can only be one survivor. So we burn everyone down rather than go down ourselves. That's how we go. But yeah, so there we go. That's a wrap. And I go back and forth on Magic. I have not played a game of Magic the Gathering in probably, it's been like a year probably. I used to play twice a week, but then you get busy with life, then you get busy with work, busy building the business, busy with your relationships and your kids, and with the dogs, and it's hard to find time to do it like you used to. But I still enjoy it, and I like playing. William says, I say the same about League of Legends. Yes, I actually uninstalled League of Legends. I keep going back and forth. I uninstall it, then I reinstall it, and I play a few games, and I uninstall it because I just think I don't have time for this. I should be editing video instead of playing League of Legends. But there is an element of like, it's good to do things that are fun. William says, yeah, sounds like me. Totally. it's fun to do things that are fun, and it's good for us to do things that are fun. But how much time can we spend on it? Right now, all of my fun time is spent on D&D stuff, which is very synergistic because I have the YouTube channel and have the Discord, and so it's very synergistic to do that. However, there's a part of me that wants to get back into Magic. There's a part of me that wants to get into comic books. I don't know. I'm telling you what, I have been thinking about comic books so much right now, and I don't know why. I think it's because I love the idea of telling a story. With so I've written a lot of stuff, but I love the idea of like writing a thing, but also having pictures. So it's like you've doubled the dimensions with which you can tell the story. But the most amazing thing would be film, man. I'm telling you, sometime in my future, as I progress on this journey, I'm going to create like a TV series. I'm going to create a show. That would be the ultimate. I would love to tell stories through show form. I think I'd be so good at it. But right now, obviously, I do not have the capabilities for that kind of thing. William, editing your next video right now? Heck yeah, that's awesome. And then also started with comics, was drawing them and collecting them since you were little. Oh yeah, heck yeah, awesome. What was your favorite like comics? Like what superhero or what series? Like, do you have a favorite? I'd be interested in hearing about that. I know almost nothing about comics, almost nothing. I'm trying to learn about them now because I kind of want to write one. And I'll be honest, I have started working on one as a hobby project. Spawn, nice. I've heard of Spawn. I don't know much about it. I'm going to Google it real quick. Oh, I see. Okay, nice. That's awesome. I don't know much about Spawn, but right now I'm looking at it and I recognize it. Albert Francis A.I. Simmons, better known as Spawn, is a fictional anti-hero appearing in a monthly comic book of the same name published by American company Image Comics, as well as a number of films, television series, and video game adaptations. Nice. You kind of tried to replicate Todd's drawing style. Image Comics was your fave for a bit. Okay, no, that makes sense. That's super cool. I don't know nothing about nothing when it comes to comics, but like I said, I'm trying to learn. I recently bought this one just because I went to the comic book store and they recommended it to me, Conan, Scourge of the Serpent, and I'm reading through it, and it's pretty cool. Aside from that, probably X-Men. I loved the X-Men when I was a kid, but it was like mostly the TV. I watched the animated show. I loved it. I also loved Justice League. It was freaking awesome. I loved watching all those superhero shows. Love superheroes. Really want to get back into playing superhero TTRPGs, and coming up here maybe in March, April, I'm going to try to start mine back up again. I put in a start playing, didn't get any bites. I think that maybe I need to rework it a little bit. It wasn't maybe very appealing, or maybe it was at a weird time slot. So I'm going to be able to post at more normal time slots. So, but that is going to be something on my radar. But anyway. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me. This was a very different, this was a very different kind of episode, but I appreciate everyone tuning in, hanging out. And yeah, so I hope you all have a great night. I'm going to call that a wrap and go edit some more video, but I will talk to all of you awesome people on the next one.